In this video, let's talk about one topic that is very amazing, interesting, which is load balance. So basically, imagine that you have your satellite with a single capsule, and then eventually you like to put some havability, some sort of mechanism that will allow you to eventually put one capsule down and your environment will be still up and running. In other words, your content host will be able to download package, install package, and do all this stuff with no impact to your environment. So if you have questions about how to implement it, let's cut to the video. Let's start in our whiteboard and let's understand the flow, how this works. So basically, for this scenario, you can see that we have the satellite and the name of the satellite is sat00. Then I have my capsule, all simple. I'm confident, you know this already. And then eventually you have your content host, something like this, just connecting through the capsule and receiving packets, receiving errata, any kind of service that we can provide via capsule to the content host. Also, I can have multiple content hosts connecting through that capsule. If this capsule stops for any reason, this can be a problem because those content hosts, they will not be able to reach out the capsule and eventually they will fail. Like if you try to install a package on content host 1 or 2, it's not going to work because my capsule is down. And then load balance came in place because I can have multiple capsules and the content host will be connecting to the capsules through the load balance. So let's see how this should be. Let's pose this scenario over here. We have the satellite. Eventually, I have my satellite connecting to that capsule. I have this capsule which is registered against satellite, same as before. But now, check this out. I have a second capsule, and now it is cap01. So basically, I have my satellite, I have my cap00, cap01. Both capsules are registered against the satellite. One important point here, the life cycle that I'm sharing to cap00, I'm going to share to cap01. If I'm sharing just to one capsule, yeah, this is gonna fail. So I have those capsules, and voila. Now I have my load balance, and the big secret here is the load balancer will be pointing and checking both capsules. Eventually, if the service is not running on capsule 01, the load balancer will be smart enough to say, hey, this capsule is down, so let me just use cap 00. And the same as the opposite. Like if my cap 00 is down for any reason, maintenance, I'm restarting for any update or anything like that, there you go. Load balancer will be smart enough just to redirect all my calls to cap01, and that's it. Everything is gonna work perfectly. And from here, we can see things like this. I have my load balance. My content host will be connecting through the load balance and not through the capsule anymore. I have no more connection with cap00 or cap01. I would like to keep the availability. And how to do that? How to achieve that? Through the load balance. Hey Wally, can I have more than one machine connecting through the load balance? Definitely yes. So basically this is the common scenario that I see around the globe. It's like, let's suppose that I have my data center or my main satellite located in Canada, and then I have one specific site in Canada, and then I have two capsules. I can set up one load balance, and then all the content hosts will be connecting through the load balance, hitting cap 00 and cap 01. Can I implement something similar in a different environment or a different data center? Definitely yes. I can have my satellites, let's suppose cap 02 and 03, and then I have another load balance. So the load balance is 02, for instance, will be pointing to cap 02 and 03. And similar behavior. In this video, I'm not going to implement like a huge environment like this, but this will be enough to provide all the knowledge that you need just to implement this scenario. The main point here is, let's suppose this one. Wally, I do have my environment, cap 00, I have my content host 1 and 2, so I need to redo everything. I need to re-register all my content hosts. Are you ready to this? Not at all. So basically what we are gonna do is we have this environment already in place with cap 00, all the machines registered against cap 00. We are going to install the cap 01, set up properly to the load balance. We will set up the load balance. We'll necessary to do one adjust on cap 00. just to add the name of the load balance in the certificates, and then we can change the content host to the load balance, but will not be necessary to re-register all the content hosts. I'm going to show all these steps. Basically, we'll be going back and forth between this drawing and the implementation, but that's it. And let's go to the terminal. Here you can see satellite web UI. Let me bump a little bit like this. Not too much today because we have a lot of information to see. Then this is our satellite. And if we take a look on host, all hosts, you can see that I have here my satellite 00. This is the satellite as we saw in the picture. Well, let me put this one, satellite. We have the capsule 00, which is this one. And if we take a look on infrastructure, capsules, this is the only capsule that I have at this moment, okay? Also, another nice and important information here, I can see host manage. If I open host manage, I can see that I have node 1 and 2. So basically node 1 and 2 are registered against this capsule at this moment. We have node 1, 2, and 3. I have this 3 that is not in the picture, but I'm not going to use this one here. Eventually, yes, let's see. But the ones that we will be working on will be node 01, which is a rel 8, and node 02, which is a rel 9. And then I have here my cap 01. We don't have yet the load balance registered. Let's see this in a few. This is just a recap because I have already my environment up and running. So basically what I did was something like this. Let's suppose that I have a fresh satellite. I create my directory to keep my certificates. I call this command just to create the certificate from my capsule. This is not for load balance. This is a regular implementation of capsule. And I have another video here explaining, showing how to deploy a capsule. Basically this one. You can see all the information. Basically, copy the certificate to your capsule, copy and paste this command. We can see that I copied the certificate to the capsule. This command, I just selected all of them, copied, paste on the capsule. This is the terminal of the capsule executed. And then we can see the capsule was installed properly, okay? If we return to Satellite Web UI, under capsule, if I open or edit this capsule lifecycle environment, you can see that I have a prod lifecycle environment assigned to this capsule. I have another video here talking about this whole infrastructure, how the content view, lifecycle environment, everything works. I'm gonna keep the link in the card. I will not spend time on this today, but you can see that this capsule has the information and it is already synced. If we come back to the capsule and access, we can see this capsule is synchronized properly. Okay, let me close this one. If we return to the terminal, this is the load balance. We'll keep this machine here yet, or for now. And this is the content host, like the node 01, which is a rel 8. If we take a look at the subscription manager config, what we can see here is this is pointing to the capsule, cap 00. The content or the base URL is coming from cap 00. And whenever I execute DNF repo list, I can see all the repositories information, and again, coming from cap 00. So this is working. This machine was able to connect to the capsule, retrieve the metadata, and do everything that we need. If I try DNF download kernel, this machine will connect to the capsule, will download the kernel package, which means everything is working fine. Like this machine was able to download this package through the capsule. If we do the same on rel 9, we can see this is also pointing to cap 00. As I mentioned before, everything is already set up. This is already up and running. And if we do DNF download kernel, I expect to see this machine downloading the kernel as well, because this is beauty and totally deserves your subscription. Everything is working as expected at this moment. See, we have this kernel package over here, downloaded properly. Everything is working fine. So This is the first piece of this drawing. We are here, everything's working. We have satellite, we have capsule, we have content host 1 and content host 2 connected through the capsule. Okay, now we need to do some stuff, some additional stuff. What is the next step, Wally? As always, let's start by the documentation. Docs, redhat.com. You can click on Explore All Products. Click on Red Hat Satellite. And here you can search by load balancer. So basically this documentation is going to provide all the information that you need to know to implement this scenario. I definitely recommend you to spend some time reading this document, reading the entire document, because there are a lot of information, a lot of details. So don't miss any part of this. Spend some time just understanding. For the sake of this video, I have already the commands that I'm going to use, but all of them basically came from this documentation. So again, I will not spend hours with you guys here. It would be boring, like we keep reading and reading and reading all the documentation, but it is very important to spend some time, read, understand, and if you have any question, feel free to let me know down below in the comments. I'll be more than glad to help you out. This document, as I said before, provides a lot of information. The one I would like to go is this one. It is the same page, I'm just opening the link. Chapter 3, configuring Capsule server with the full SSL certificate for load balance. I'm using the self-signed certificate. In case you are using a custom certificate, the process is a little bit different, but again, will be in this document as well. We have some requirements over here, like you can see the prerequisites. Again, check all this information. What I would like to call your attention here is this. If you take a look and compare, like let's come back to the satellite. I generated the certificate for this capsule, and you can see that I have my HAProxy FQDN and cert-star. HAProxy FQDN, cert-star, and there is a new one here. And why is that? Because we need to add one information in this certificate mentioning the load balancer. This is very important because all the connection that will happen and we'll be using the load balancer FQDN. And if this FQDN is not in the certificate, this is going to fail. So keep in mind that you have to add your load balance FQDN as part of this process. If you miss this, will be just one more step. You have to redo this step, but this is very important to keep in mind. After generating this capsule information or this information, you can just proceed as before. Like we have the copy to the capsule, and check this out. Append the following options to satellite installer. Remember, when I execute this command, this one was generated, like this one over here. What this guy is telling us is, hey, add this one at the bottom of that command, and it will be something like this. You can see one example just in a way that you can add the information about the load balancer. Basically, that's it. Like, again, a lot of details in this document. Feel free to spend some time. If you have questions, let me know down below in the comments. But let's do this right now. I'm gonna resize this a little bit. Let me clean up the screen. From here, I'm gonna paste this guy. So let's take a look. Capsule cert generates. I have my path to this folder. I'm gonna create a file called cap01 king.lab. I recommend you to set the name of your capsule. This will be simple to track. Then the format proxy CNAME will be lb.king.lab, and this is the load balance. At this moment, load balance is not registered, is not ready yet, but this is just for the sake of the registration installation of the capsule. Definitely you can do that. And the FQDN of the capsule. So let's move it on. There we go. We have the output, as mentioned before. Copy this guy to your capsule. You can see you have the complete command here. This is simple, just copy and paste. Eventually, you don't have direct access to that capsule, but if you do, that's it. Like this is copying this file that was created to the capsule. Just type the password of the capsule. That's it. Let's copy this one. Let's go to our capsule, not 0001. Let's paste. And here, one attention point. I'm gonna append that information, remember? And Wally, what is the information in your case? I have the search-c name to lb.king.lab, and I'm enabling the HAProxy plugin remote execution. That's it. This is gonna proceed with the installation, the capsule installation, in a way that this capsule will be already ready to this load balancer implementation. Let's wait for this to finish, and I'm gonna show you a neat thing in a way that you can check and do some tests. There we go, the capsule is ready. So let's take a look on the web UI. If we come back to satellite, we can see the Capsule 1 is installed. One thing here though, let's click on register hosts, and you can see Cap00. This is pointing to Cap00. If I go to Cap01, this is pointing to Cap01. My expectation is whenever I set up this load balancer, if I pick Cap00 or Cap01, I expect to see the lb.king.lab as part of this information. This will be presenting the name of the load balancer. This is the expected behavior, okay? Amazing. We are not there yet. Let me show you one thing that I mentioned before. Let's go to one client. Let's use the rel 8 clients, and we can do this check from the client. Let me paste this command over here, and let's execute. So check this out. We have an echo. We are passing this echo through a pipe to OpenSSL. OpenSSL is one binary command that has a lot of commands, a lot of options, a lot of flags, amazing to work with certificates. One thing that we are doing here is, hey, OpenSSL, work as a client, and let's connect to the capsule01.king.lab on port 443. Simple. This is going to bring a lot of information. We are going beyond. I'm getting this output because I have the certificate over there. Let me pass this again to OpenSSL, passing through X509. I'm getting all the text. And again, I'm passing this output to a grep looking by the alternative names or DNS entries. And you can see over here that we have cap01.king.lab, and also we do have lb.king.lab. This is amazing. This is very important because if I connect through the load balancer or through the capsule, this should be working, okay? Hey, Wally, what about the other capsule, the original one, Cap00? See, in this case, I have just the Cap00, and I need to update this one in order that I see the load balance as well. This is the point. And okay, how can I do that? How can I fix this Cap00 in a way that I should be able to see something like this, Cap00 and also LB, the load balancer. Let's come back to the satellite. Let me clean up the screen. Let me regenerate the certificate for this capsule. But if you see now, I'm adding that option, that flag, format-proxy-cname, including the load balancer name. And then there you go, same steps as before. I can copy this guy, paste. This is gonna copy to my capsule 00. We are there, we can see the file was copied. I can select this one, go to my cap00. Let me clean up this screen, paste. Let me add another backslash. And I'm also going to add that flag. So this is the flag that will allow your capsule just to be able to add this alias or this information in the certificate. There we go. We can see this is concluded. Let's come back to this client. I will not clean up the screen. Let's run again against Cap01, still the same. And if we go against Cap00, now we have Cap00 and we have the load balance. Totally deserves your subscription. This tip is amazing. This is gold. So let's move it on. The next step is the load balancer. So this load balancer is not registered yet. I'm confident with that because I unregistered this server, but I would like to register this against my satellite server. So let me do this real quick. This is a global registration. If you're not familiar, I have another video. I'm gonna keep in the cards. You can see this is pointing to satellite. I wanna register this or my load balancing against satellite. This is the load balancer. There you go. This will register the machine against the satellite server itself. We'll do all the registration, all the steps. This machine is registered now. If we come back and click on all hosts, we can see the load balancer over here. This is good. If we do a double check, subscription manager config, we can see this is pointing to satellite. And DNF repo list-v should be able to get content from RHEL 9 repositories, AppStream and BaseOS. There you go. Let's try again that download, DNF download kernel. And why kernel? Could be any package. I'm just picking one. We can see this is downloading properly. This is okay. I have this load balancer. What are those steps to deploy my load balancer? Let's come back to our documentation. If we take a look on installing load balancer, you can see the chapter 9. Basically, this is gonna install the HAProxy. So we need to copy and paste those commands. DNF install HAProxy, install the policy core utils, and then we have some command here about SC Linux. And after that, we have this configuration. Those packets, they are already installed on this machine, but Wally, can we do that again? Definitely yes. Let's copy and paste. In your case, this will ask, hey, would like to install? Yes. You can see here that HAProxy, it is already installed. Can I deploy this one? Same, copy and paste, but this package, it is already deployed or installed. This is for SC Linux. And one important information here is those are the ports that we need to redirect or do the load balancer in a way that we have the balancing modes. This is round robin. Basically, round robin, we'll be doing the round robin between servers. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 1, 2 will be like a ping pong. And source is the one that is supposed to work with affinity, the IP address. If you connect, like I'll try to keep that connection. If something happened with the destination, then I'm gonna change it to another capsule. But this is basically how this works. In this case, this configuration can be applied to HAProxy, F5, or any other load balancer that you have. In this case, we'll be using HAProxy for the sake of this video and for the sake of this implementation. And what are those ports? I need to redirect the port 80 from this load balancer to Capsule 1 and Capsule 2, or in our case, Cap 0, Cap 1. I need to redirect my port 443. I need to redirect my port 8000. I need to redirect this one? No, this is optional. If you have Puppet, then yes. If you have a Puppet CA, then yes, you can. This is for the registration 9090, and this is very important because if this is not working, your registration will not work. If you take a look here on this client, the command that we run to register this machine, see, this is connecting through the port 9090. So again, if you're not redirecting the 9090 port on your load balancer, this registration is not gonna work, okay? All right, let's come back and let's take a look on the load balancer. Let me open another connection to the load balancer. There you go. I'm gonna do one thing. My HAProxy was already set up, but let's start fresh. Like I have this file, this configuration file. I will just do a reinstall, yum reinstall HAProxy, just to redeploy that configuration file. And then we can start from scratch, just to be fair. etc HAProxy CFG. And this is the standard configuration. We have this default section, which has the default information. And we have one example here where the front end is port 5000. So this HAProxy will be listening on port 5000. This is the front end, and we have the reference to the back end. And here we have the back end, same name. And we have the server entry, the short name or FQDN of your server, the IP address of your server, the port, and this option will allow the HAProxy to be checking that machine often, okay? We don't need this. So basically, what I'm gonna do here is, not the defaults we can keep, this one. So basically, we have a brand new file, standard, everything here is standard, the global configuration and the default configuration. Let me paste a section just about 443. And let's understand this a little bit. So this load balancer will be doing a bind on port 443. The mode here is TCP. We have some options, and the default backend will be f-proxy-https. This is just a name that you have to match in the backend, okay? In the backend, I will keep my mode TCP. I have an option TCP check. I have my balance type source. And here is the entry. I have my server. This is the FQDN of the server, cap00.king.lab. And this is the IP address of that capsule specifically. And this has to be right. And here is the port, the same port that we are doing the binds. And check. I would like to HAProxy to be doing this check often. This HAProxy will be listed on port 443. And whenever some requests came, I would like to add another capsule. So at the end of the day, in this backend, I will have 2 capsules. Can I add 3, 4, 5, 10 capsules? Definitely yes. Just duplicate the line, paste, and then there you go. Like you can put capsule 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them. These will be working in the same way. Don't forget that you need to update the IP address. This is very important, just to be sure that your proxy is acting properly, okay? Okay, this is port 443. As we mentioned before. Over here, the type is source. Can I add another one, which is the port 80? Definitely, you can, my friend. This is the port 80. Again, same idea. This guy will be listed on port 80. This is the default backend, the name of that default backend. You can see this is different. Don't forget to update, because if you mix things here, your proxy will get crazy. So don't mess it up at this point. Just keep this name unique for this configuration. In your backend, you need to match those names. And then again, another very important information here, the port. You can see that the port here is matching with the port on the front end. Wally, what will happen if I have different ports on this configuration from the front end? This is not going to work. So keep this in mind. And the balance here, you can see this is round robin. So again, as I said before, one request will land on cap 00. Another request will land on cap 01 from the same source. The same source, hey load balancer, give me one response. The first one will be cap 00. The next response will be cap 01. The next one, cap 00. This is round robin. In this one over here, if you see, okay, just cap 00 is responding, probably if you go to a different client and try, only cap 01 will be responding based on the size of your environment. I'm going to show you this in a few. Okay, you got the point here. You understood how this works. Now I'm going to add all the ports that we need to add, which is basically port 9090 for the registration and port 8000 for Anaconda and templates. And you can see the port is matching, the port is matching. The name over here is different. See, this is the registration, this is matching. This one is for Anaconda template, this is matching. I'm not mixing anything here. This is the expected configuration, okay? Let's save this file. And one nice trick that I like to use here when doing this troubleshooting with load balancer, or specifically HAProxy, is called HAProxy-f. We can pass that file -d of debug. Hey Wally, how do you know that? You memorize that? Nope. Always my friend, man, HAProxy. And here you can find all the information, everything that you need. Again, I will not spend time on man page right now. Let's just do this. And there you go. We have some options, some information, also some warning, like I'm ignoring this one. But basically we have this information. We have this logging. Okay, can we give it a try? Can we check if this is working? Definitely yes. Let's come back to this client. Similar command as before, but now instead of cap00 or cap01, I'm pointing to load balancer. Same idea, okay? The one responding was cap01 and cap01 and cap01. So let me clean up the screen now. I'm gonna do this 3 times. And then we can see this is always landing on cap01. Let's copy this command. Let's paste over there. I can see cap00. See, this is what I was telling, because this is by affinity. And if I just drop the service on my cap00, we can do that real quick. Forma maintain service stop. This is fun. See, my cap00 is down. So HAProxy was able to detect that one. If I return here and do one more request, okay, now I'm getting the information from cap01. This one will still on cap01 because of the affinity, and that's okay. If I return my service, because now my maintenance is finished, concluded, my capsule is up and running properly, we can see that the capsule is okay in that specific port. That port is responsive. Because of that, that port is very important. We can try again. And then this machine is back to cap00 because of the affinity, the initial affinity. And this one will probably still on cap01 because of the affinity as well. Cool? This is fantastic and totally deserves your subscription. Another nice way that we have to check this one is using something like this. See, basically this is bash and I'm doing this forever. Forever is too long, but it is forever while this is true, or until I press Ctrl C. We have a date, which is returning the date, the time stamp over there. And then I'm doing a cur in a verbose mode, getting the load balancer. And then I'm getting the cap00 because I'm filtering the subject. I'm waiting for 5 seconds and that's it. All the time, this is returning from the capsule 00. If I execute the same on this guy, see, this is getting from cap01. This is another troubleshooting, very, very used for this kind of scenario, because this will tell us, okay, this is working fine, this is working properly, or eventually this is failing. Like I see no response, this is providing some timeout, something like that. But this is gorgeous, this is fine. Let me stop both and let's keep going. We can see that the capsule is working fine. I have another thing here that I would like to do. Those are the capsules. And I would like to do something like this. Cap00. We are gonna redirect this to this file. We have a web server up and running. Then this is a public directory. And then we have this, we are just creating a file, check.html, and the content is the name of the capsule. I will not mess it up here, guys. I promise. This is the name of this capsule, cap01, and this is cap00 from this guy. Okay, how can I check if this is working fine? Let's come back to the client, rel 8, and let's do a cur on HTTP. This is port 80, on load balance, getting from pub, check HTML. We can see cap01, now cap00, cap01, cap00, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. If we do the same process on the next capsule, see? All right, we know that our port 80 is working fine, load balance. We know that our port 443 is working fine for the sake of this test. We saw that. Let me clean up both screens over here. And let's keep going. Now we need to do one more configuration, which is in that documentation. I'm just getting the links, and all those links that I'm using direct, I'll keep down below in the description of this video. So you can just click and you access directly the file. We have this information, setting the load balancer for host registration. This is very important because your capsule, they need to have this information. By default, this will be enabled, but who knows? Eventually, you have some configuration and some configuration just change it, or eventually someone changed this configuration. So keep in mind that you need to execute this on both of your capsules. So in other words, go to your capsule, copy and paste that command. This is gonna execute and will be fine. And on all capsule servers, you need to execute this command, port 990 of your load balancer and port 8000 from your load balancer. I have already this one on my end, updated to my scenario. So I'm just gonna wait for this to finish, and then I'm gonna paste the next command, and that's it. One question, can I execute the same command, satellite installer, passing those flags plus the additional flags? Yes, you can. I'm just doing this because the documentation is telling us, okay, do this because we need this information or this configuration for the sake of registration. And we need also this one because of the load balancer. But yeah, you can do this in a single shot. This is not a big deal, okay? All right, let me copy and paste this over here as well. Hit enter. Another very common, and this is bonus time, another very common mistake here is the typo. Eventually I see some typo happening, and this is confused because, okay, this is LB, and sometimes we can see 1B, and 1B is different from LB, but you have to go very precise, very slow, and check all the logs and check all the details. Sometimes some characters will be very similar, and definitely this will cause some problems during the troubleshooting process. So keep in mind, typo is terrible over here. Okay, we run those steps and we are almost there. Let's refresh our page. Let's click on register. If you pick Cap00, look at that. This is the time. If you're not yet subscribing to this channel, guys, don't miss anything else. Just smash the button right now, subscribe, hit the bell, allow notification. Those are amazing contents. And let me know which kind of content you like to see. I will be glad to prepare any new content for you. You can see that we have this load balancer over here, just picking Cap00. If I pick a different capsule, you can see this is also lb.king.lab. So at the end of the day, if I pick Cap00 or Cap01, doesn't matter because the registration will be landing in the same place. What I mean by that is this, another bonus time. So let's pick our route 8, registering through the load balance. I will disable the insights. Generate. You can see that we have the load balancer over here as part of the URL. I will not re-register this machine, but let me show you this. This is the command. I just command the line at the beginning. Let me remove this comment or this pipe bash. And basically this is what will happen under the hood. Like we have a lot of information, we have the certificates, but the main point I would like to share here is this block. So this is the command subscription manager. We are invoking config and we are passing some flags. Those flags are the flags that will set your load balance. Like the host name of this subscription manager config will be pointing to lb.king.lab. We have the port 443, the endpoints, and the base URL will also be pointing to the load balancer. So this is what will allow your clients to be able to point to the load balancer, and doesn't matter if you have 1, 2, 10 capsules, that's okay. Assuming that at least one of them is up and running, everything should be fine. Amazing. We are here. As I mentioned before, this machine is set to cap 00. Okay, do I need to re-register this one? This is the final part because at this moment, your load balancer is set up properly. There is nothing else to do. We can see that the capsule 00 and 01 are here. Another attention point that I mentioned before, the lifecycle environment. See, there is no prod over here. If I just move it on, try to register, try to consume content, this is gonna fail because the lifecycle environment is not here. Let's take a look on capsule 00, just to compare. See, I have my prod lifecycle environment. You need to have the same lifecycle environment in your capsule, okay? So let's submit. And also, you need to sync. If you publish some content, that publication is just gonna create this sync automatically or automatically. If not, if you're doing things like this right now, you can just hit the button to synchronize this capsule and that's it. All right, we are good to go with the load balancer. Right now, what I would like to do is create my global registration. So register host, the capsule, I can pick any of them. Let me pick 00, insecure. The activation key will be on prod lifecycle environment for rel 8. I will not set up insights unlimited. This is the process to register against my load balancer. That's it. I can copy this one. I can paste on my clients. This is for new registrations. For the machines that we have registered already, I will not be using that. If I want, I can, definitely, but let's suppose that I have 10,000 servers. Do I have to re-register all of them? I don't like that. Yeah, neither do I. So there are some approaches that we can do here. For those nodes, what I can do is this. Let me close all the tabs now. We don't need them anymore. I will open node 1 and node 2. Node 1 is here. I can click on these three dots under the content view environment, edit content view environment, and I know that this machine is getting information from the capsule. We saw that over here, okay? Okay, can I change this one? Yes. I can click on this link, change the host content source. So I can select, okay, which one, cap 00 or 01, doesn't matter. You know the trick, cap 00 and 01 is part of the load balancer. So I can pick any of them. The environment is prod, or lifecycle environment is prod, and this is my rel 8. So I would like to consume content from this composite content view. From here, I have two ways to go. One is run job invocation. So let's do this one here. We'll just invoke this job. I can just select run on selected host. What will happen is this will create a task, and this task will be executed on that client, assuming that you have the remote execution in place. And Wally, what was executed? I can see just successful. We can click on this or successfully. I can click on toggle command, and basically we are deploying the CA certificates. We are doing a lot of configurations. But again, the most important is this one. Subscription manager config. We are passing the load balancer as a reference to this guy. If we return to this machine and rerun subscription manager config, now this guy is getting from load balancer, which is pretty cool, huh? Subscription manager. I can also do DNF repo list -v, and there you go. This 404 is basically because the capsule is still syncing. So let's do the same on the rel 9. Let's pick the rel 9. We will come back to the rel 8. That will be fixed. Let's click on the three dots under the content view environment, edit content view environments. Let's click on change the host content source. The content source cap00 or 01, that's okay. Prod, and let's pick the composite content view for rel 9. At this moment, I will not run the job invocation. Let's assume that you don't have the SSH or the remote execution in place. I would like to do this manually. So basically what this is telling us to do is, okay, you can copy and paste this information over here in your clients. And if you take a look here, similar idea. So basically the remote execution is just executing the same content in the clients. I can copy, go to the client. If you have any way of automation like SSH, Bash script, or Ansible, or Puppet, whatever, you can do that. Or you can just open the terminal, paste, press enter. Okay, this is asking, would like to override? Yes. There you go. So subscription manager config. We can see that now this is pointing to the load balancer, DNF repo list -v. There you go. This is getting from the load balancer. We can see the information over here, which means this is getting from one capsule that has that specific content. Just returning to this configuration, we can see that this capsule is still syncing. Okay, Wally, but it is good. Like, I don't have this lifecycle environment. What should happen? Because if I do this in my environment right now, like this kind of implementation, this could be causing some problems. If my capsule 01 is still syncing, I can just remove from my load balancer and say, hey, only my capsule 00 will be around, and that's it. I don't recommend you to stop the service of your capsule, because if you do that, this sync process is going to stop, it's going to fail. So don't do that. Act in your load balancer level, okay? This is going to finish in a few. Whenever this finish, we can come back to the content host and try one more time. We can see that the capsule concluded properly, was synchronized. If we return to the client, let's try once again. We can see that this machine is able to get the metadata, and voila. Now we can see this point to the load balancer, and we can see the information. We can see all the contents. DNF download iptref-ng. This is another package. We can see this was downloaded properly. I can execute the same on this rel 9 clients, and DNF install iptref-ng. Let me clean up the screen. Yes, downloading again from the load balancer. See, install DNF repo list -v. We can see the load balancer, subscription manager config. We can see the load balancer. Same from here. If we redo the same steps, we can see this is getting from the load balancer. It is pointed to the load balancer. If I stop one of the capsules, this will still working. If I stop both capsules, then this is a problem. Like this guy, this content host will hit the load balancer will try to reach out to capsule 1 or 2. That's not going to work. Then voila, that will be a problem. Just to close up this one, this is the way that I like to use, because all the time that we're hitting the load balancer, we can see the entry over here. This is nice for troubleshooting, for understanding what's going on. But at the end of the day, will be something like this. systemctl status HAProxy. I can just restart. This is disabled, so don't forget to do something like systemctl enable HAProxy. Then now you can see this is enabled, the service is running. And if we come back to this one and execute that echo one more time, there you go. This is getting cap 01. This one is getting cap 00. And with that said, check this out. Let's review our graph, because we started this video today in this situation: the satellite, the capsule, and 2 content hosts connected to the capsule or through the capsule. And right now we are here. Like, we have the satellite, We have 2 capsules. We have the correct certificate for them, the updated certificate. We have the load balance, in this case using the HAProxy. And we have the 2 content hosts just connecting this environment through the capsule. Just to point the steps that we have done here, the installation of the capsule was the first or additional step. Like those servers were already installed, up and running. Then we registered them against satellite. So basically we executed some steps to prepare this capsule to be in load balance. After that, we updated this one just to get the proper certificates. Then we set up our load balance. We did all the configuration. And finally, we executed the steps to update the content hosts. Was it necessary to re-register those machines against satellites? Not at all. Just executing a script that satellite will provide to you should be enough to point to this load balance. And then that's it. Your machine should be good to go. Keep going, continue consuming content from your environment through the load balance. And you tell me, this is gorgeous, huh? That's it, guys. This topic is amazing. This content, like load balancer, is pretty interesting. There are a lot of details, but I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you are not yet. Also, feel free to join us in our Discord channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.